What's up, guys? I'm here to follow up on the video that was posted yesterday. By the way, I did say that there would be a follow-up to that video once we got more facts out on this case, and guess what? We've gotten a lot more facts. First and foremost, I want to go ahead and make an addendum to the story on the kid being trans. As you guys can see, someone commented on the post from yesterday, and they were telling me to go check out a Reddit article. By the way, I didn't include the person's name for privacy purposes, okay? I just wanted to go ahead and throw that out there. I don't like putting the subscribers or anybody who comments on the videos names actually in the video to kind of sort of protect their privacy. Also, something else too. I went on Twitter right after this, and of course, Daily Mail had already reported on, as you guys are seeing. So there was a bit of it. So an addendum needs to be made. However, I still am very, very much entrenched on my feelings about how to protect kids from school shootings itself. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit more in this video. Also, we're going to be covering Beto O'Rourkes, I guess you could say his political grandstanding. We're also going to be talking about Barack Obama's insane tweet. And, of course, we're going to be talking about Steve Kerr in this video. And, of course, we're also going to be talking about the details at large. There will also be a video put in the comment section of this video that details further on the actual shooting. With that there out of the way, guys, let's go ahead and get into this. A lot of things have came out. And I mean, a lot of things have came out. More and more has come out about the shooter and the actual shooting itself. And of course, we've got a lot of very, very bad takes. I'm going to go ahead and try to kind of like sort of answer every single one of them. First and foremost, let's talk about Robert Francis O'Rourke and his little stunt yesterday.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Sit down.
You're out of line and an embarrassment.
Sit down and don't play this stuff.
The next shooting is right now, and you're doing nothing.
No, he needs to get his ass out of here. This isn't the place to talk this over.
This is totally predictable when you...
Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Please leave this auditorium. I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch that would come to a deal like this to make a political issue.
That right there would be Uvalde Mayor Don McLaughlin saying, get out of here, you POS or you SOB. You're a sick SOB. Of course, POS and SOB was trending all over Twitter yesterday because of this. Yeah, Beto, you kind of sort of got famous there, or a little bit more famous than you already are for the wrong reason there, pal. Also, something else, too. Beto O'Rourke is kind of a scumbag, in my opinion. Let me kind of sort of explain what I mean. In 2008, he did not run on gun control when he ran in the Senate against Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz didn't even have the full backing of the Trump base, and Ted Cruz still won that race. 2020, Beto O'Rourke runs for the presidency on the Democratic ticket through the nomination process. His very, very first debate, the guy answered the question in Spanish, obviously pandering to the Spanish crowd, obviously pandering to Hispanics. Beto, you're not Mexican, you're an Irish white boy, do us a favor and stop freaking pandering. Then he turned right back around earlier this year and said that he had sort of evolved a little bit on gun control, and then he goes out there and does this crap right here. He also continued this outside where he said that they were taking donations to pay for the funerals of the family. I'm pretty sure that the state of Texas will probably take care of that, the current governor, Greg Abbott, so I would make sure you guys stick around to get more information on that there. Also, to the congressman who said that people, quite frankly, should be doing what Beto O'Rourke did to other Republicans, all I'm going to say to you is that most Republican voters actually are armed, so I'm just going to say be advised. The worst take, in my opinion, obviously came from former President Barack Obama. When he was in office, I said it before, this guy here was completely out of touch the entire time he was in office. He was purposely trying to damage the country, and of course this tweet right here shows that he's still continuing to try to divide the country. You're talking about George Floyd, a fentanyl-popping drug addict whose death sparked riots all across this country in 2020, which, by the way, then eventually led to the defund the police movement, which then led to more riots in Kenosha, Wisconsin, after Jacob Blake's shooting, which, by the way, Jacob Blake was obviously in the wrong for. The cops did the right thing. And, of course, our pal Kyle Rittenhouse had to put down a child pedophile, and he had to put down a wife beater that night, of course, in self-defense. We could go on about that right there. Oh, by the way, Kyle's about to get $22 million from The View, so I just wanted to go ahead and throw that out there. Of course, The View is settling out of court. But Barack Obama, of course, still comes out here and decides he wants to continue to try to divide this nation. And then we get this guy, this coach, this guy who coaches the Golden State Warriors, Steve Kerr, And here's something, too. Now, before we talk about Steve Kerr, I want to say that I would feel very, very sympathetic towards Steve Kerr because Steve Kerr's father was killed by gun violence. Now, of course, this right here happens, and of course, he's got to go to the stand and get out there in front of a press conference and do this right here.
We can't sit here and just read about it and go, well, let's have a moment of silence. Yeah, go Dubs, you know. Come on, Mavs, let's go. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go play a basketball game. And 50 senators in Washington are going to hold us hostage. Do you realize that 90% of Americans, regardless of political party, want background check, universal background check? 90% of us, we are being held hostage by 50 senators in Washington who refuse to even put it to a vote, despite what we, the American people, want. They won't vote on it because they want to hold on to their own power. It's pathetic. I've had enough.
Steve, I get your frustration. I get how upset you are. The problem is, Steve, is that a couple of years ago after the Parkland shooting, you were very, very much against the idea of protecting kids. So spare us that. Also, something else, too. About 90% of people in the country wanted background checks. Most of those people who want the background checks, like myself included, I'm okay with FFL forms. You know, this form right here, you know, you got to kind of like fill it out. And it goes to NICS, which, by the way, is a division of the ATF, and they do a background check there. Yeah. I think most of those people who want those background checks already know that the background checks are actually in place. So when you see a tweet from Cenk Uygur where he says 88%, and of course you hear Steve Kerr cry about this, these are obviously people who either A, don't know what the hell they're talking about, or B, are just simply straight up bad actors. Don't worry, we'll take on Cenk at a later date with another one of his meltdowns. But guys, here's the thing. Speaking of gun control policy, you know, he talks about these 50 senators who are holding it up. Steve, a very funny development has occurred in this entire ordeal. Those 50 senators who are holding this up are actually Democrats. Yes, Chuck Schumer just tabled this because he knows he can't get anything done on this right here. So, Steve, I think your anger is a little bit misplaced. And, of course, like I said before, we just exposed you for being a complete, total hypocrite. You know, it's really, really sad, too, because the NBA playoff ratings are very, very good. And a lot of it's because they haven't been as political. But then again, though, when something like this happens, they can't help to kind of like virtue signal. So I'm pretty sure the NBA is going to be taking a bit of a hit after this press conference. Obama's tweet, by the way, doesn't surprise me. I mean, he was an extremely divisive president when he was in office. He's even being more divisive out of office. This tweet where he says that we should honor a pill-popping drug addict, a fentanyl-abusing drug addict like George Floyd, who, by the way, gets statues and murals. I mean, this just only goes to show you how much our society has actually declined. I mean, this guy right here held a woman up at gunpoint, and in his name, a bunch of riots occurred in 2020. I mean, look, the guy obviously did not deserve to die, but American cities and black-owned businesses did not deserve to be burned in this guy's name. Now to the issue with cops. You see, guys, one of the reasons why I want veterans patrolling the schools and I want fences up is because I know that veterans will actually proactively try to take down the assailant. They'll actually try to take down the actual shooter. We're now getting a report right now that the cops waited for 40 minutes. Like I said before, this right here is an addendum to the previous video. We now have more facts. We're finding out that cops waited 40 minutes. 40 minutes. They waited 40 minutes to actually do something about this. While the shooting is going on, they waited 40 freaking minutes. I mean, I think the redheaded libertarian, she put out a tweet here earlier where she basically said, you know what I took it as, what good are the cops? Okay, you guys can take the tweet however you want, but basically, what good are the cops if they're not actually going to do their freaking job? I mean, thank God they put the damn assailant down, but holy crap, they waited 40 freaking minutes. You even got a report of one parent trying to get into the school to actually save the kids, and the cops pinned him down. Look, I understand that you got to protect the parents too, but holy shit, 40 minutes. 40 freaking minutes. This is the main reason why I want vets there instead of active law enforcement. You have a resource officer. I know I said LEOs before, but here's the deal. Most of you retired LEOs can actually sniff out the threat. A lot of these, I don't even know if these young officers are even getting threat training on these shooters. I mean, come on, man. We got to have active shooter drills. You got to have actual vets there to actually protect our kids. But once again, though, we come out here screaming and holler, oh, man, we need to ban the guns. And as I just mentioned before, they're not going to do that anyway, as much as they claim they want to do that, because everything is politics nowadays. They don't really want to fix the problem. Put actual vets at the actual school. Put people who will actually put down the damn threat. I'm beginning to wonder right now if the cops are even going to try to save us when this shit eventually hits the fan. As for arming teachers, if teachers are actually willing to go through a concealed carry class, if teachers are willing to actually do this, then by all means, go ahead and do this. I said this before. If you've got janitors there who maybe were veterans at one point in time, or retired law enforcement. Why not arm them? It's basically a deterrent. You're more than likely not going to go into that school and actually shoot up a soft zone if you know people are armed in there. Also, something else too, like I said before, hire vets to actually patrol the school. We're finding out that the cops weren't doing anything. Maybe that is because the cops are a little bit more bound, I guess, to their actual company policies. But at the same time, though, veterans more often than not are actually going to snuff out the threat, target the threat, and go ahead and diffuse the situation right from the get-go. I mean, like I said in the last little rant of this video, 40 minutes, dude? You guys sat out there for 40 minutes? I mean, the same thing sort of happened in the Parkland shooting where the resource officer kind of sort of retreated from it. I mean, dude, what are we paying you for? I mean, what the hell are we paying you to do? I mean, actually find people who are actually willing to go out there and actually take care of this problem. Somebody commented on the previous video saying, what are we doing here? I'm asking kind of sort of the same exact question. What are we doing here? I mean, come on, people. I mean, 40 minutes, waiting 40 minutes. I know I'm coming back and I know it's a little bit repetitive, but 40 freaking minutes, people. Let that just sink in. This right here is also very, very much proof. Everything you're seeing right now, this right here is more of a cultural crisis than anything else. When Barack Obama, former president of the United States, talks about mourning about the victims in the Uvalde shooting, and then he brings up George Floyd, I got to ask a question, dude. What are you wanting us to look up to? George Floyd, a fentanyl popping drug addict? I mean, I understand his death was not warranted, but at the same time, though, the guy actually held up a pregnant woman, pointed a gun at her. I mean, this right here wasn't a guy that needed to be looked up to. I mean, he wasn't worth the riots that happened. I mean, he wasn't worth all the black businesses that were burned down. I mean, most tone-deaf tweet ever. I mean, Barack, let me ask you a question, dude. What exactly is it you want us to look up to? I mean, for a while there, you want us to look up to you. And, of course, I didn't think you were anything to look up to at all. If anything, you were something to look down to. I mean, George Floyd, of all people, you're going to bring up George Floyd at a time like this right here? I mean, dude, what a jerk. I mean, I hesitate to say anything worse about a former president, or else YouTube will find a way to actually, like, demonetize or actually strike this video. But, dude, what a jerk, man. I mean, really, just a POS. I'm going to end the video on this note right here. As you guys will see in the video that I left in the description box, there's going to be a lot more details on the actual shooter and who the shooter literally was, his current home situation. But let me go ahead and tell you right now what we've learned. We've learned that the shooter was having problems at home. We found out the shooter did not use a pistol, he used a rifle. We found out that he entrenched himself inside of a classroom. He barricaded himself in there. We're finding out that the cops stood outside for 40 minutes and didn't really do anything about it. We're also finding out at the same time that the shooter was living with his grandparents because he had a very, very bad relationship with his parents. We're also finding out the shooter bought the rifle a couple of days after his birthday, which, by the way, was May the 16th, put pictures up on social media. We're also finding out that, in fact, he was not a trans kid. Okay, I went ahead and made that addendum very, very clear at the beginning of this video. Okay, I went ahead and did that because, quite frankly, I thought that was very, very important. This right here shows you exactly what happens in the initial stage of actual news. We didn't get the actual facts out of right away. And I think the biggest reason why is because we were all playing partisan politics. Okay, you guys can blame me for that there too if you want to. I know some leftists are going to come in here if they even watch the full video, which they probably won't. But you guys can blame me for that there. My bad. I'll go ahead and take responsibility for that right there. But here's the deal. We all need to allow all the facts to actually play out. And this is the last thing I'm going to say in this video. You see, when these type of ordeals occur, when shootings like this happen, they're always tragic. What do the Democrats do? They go ahead and entrench themselves, and they go ahead and preach gun control. This right here forces the right to go ahead and entrench themselves when the actual solution to this entire ordeal is hire freaking vets. Put up damn fencing around these schools, protect our kids. I mean, dude, we just sent $40 billion to Ukraine, okay, to protect them. By the way, they're very, very hypocritical on this issue of the Second Amendment because while they turn right back around and bash us over us being gun owners, they then turn right back around and praise Ukraine over handing out guns to their actual citizens to protect themselves against the Russians. But yet their citizens have not been trained because Ukraine was a country that, quite frankly, had rampant gun control. You see, all the hypocrisy, all the lies and crap just makes matters 10 times worse. As you guys can see, because of the left's lack of empathy and lack. By the way, these people are all scum. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and say that right there. You went ahead and started preaching gun control, so that way your political opponents could then turn right back around and say, no, we're going to protect our guns. And me, obviously, being a pro-Second Amendment guy, I'm sitting here kind of looking at this right here and saying, look, man, yeah, there's common sense solutions to this entire ordeal. But, of course, these takes right here kind of get tossed in the pile and nobody ever picks up on them because everybody in the world is playing partisan politics. Guys, John Claymore here. I'm just going to go ahead and say out.